linebackers have tackled so far?
I think we've been adequate. Obviously, we always strive for perfection. We haven't been there. We missed a couple tackles. Some of our backup guys missed some tackles in the second half. Of last week's game that we weren't happy about. But I think the tackling has improved. I think that's one of the reasons we're playing the run a little bit better. But we're striving to get better every week.
We'll go to Rob and then Frank in the back.
Coach, Kentucky right up there with Arkansas and was run-heavy teams in the league as far as run-pass ratio. Just what kind of challenges do they present? How different is it?
Unbelievable challenge. Sometimes they could have 3 or 4 tight ends on the field, so they're very multiple in their formations, and they're going to really challenge your run fits. Your gap integrity is going to be very, very big this week. Obviously, they have a pro-style offense. The coordinator came from the San Francisco 49ers, and they're going to give you a lot of different formations that, like I said, they're going to really test your force rules as far as your edges and make sure you're very sound gap integrity-wise. They do a really good job of mixing up tight ends and putting them in as fullbacks, putting them in as receivers, and with the motions and shifts that they do, we're going to have to do a great job with our communication and our obviously overall gap integrity this week.
Frank.
Coach, back here, what stands out about Will Levis, and what's the key in sort of containing him?
Will, obviously, super talented guy. At my previous stop, got a chance to see him at his previous stop, so we know what type of athlete he is. I think he's really settled in as a quarterback. Has a rocket arm. Very, very accurate, and he's making really good decisions with the football. He's, obviously you guys all see some of the, draft primers. He's very, very well thought of, for those guys at the next level, and you can see why the talent kind of jumps off of the screen. So he's going to be a big-time challenge for us.
Wes.
Brian, when you see these sorts of, kind of NFL style, almost not throwback, but almost throwback. His offense is a little bit in some ways that kind of go, downhill, and then hit those big play action passes. You don't see those as much as maybe you used to in the college game. How important is it for pretty much everyone on the back end of the defense to kind of not get kind of run behind?
Oh yeah, eye discipline is going to be huge. Like we talked about earlier with the earlier question, obviously they're going to run and they're going to present a lot of shifts and motions, and they're going to give you a lot of eye candy. So our eye discipline is going to have to be a big part of what we do on defense, because if we get caught with our eyes in the wrong spot, obviously that's when the big plays in the pass game occur, where they are able to get a guy behind the defense. So, and that's with everybody, not just the secondary. That's the linebackers too when we're in man coverage. So it's going to be a challenge, and that's what makes them good on offense, because they're different. Everybody's kind of gone to the spread philosophy, and even tempo like we run on offense. They're kind of the anti-tempo, where they're gonna obviously take their time, get aligned, and run their plays at their own tempo with obviously with 12 personnel and even 13 personnel with 3 tight ends on the field, which is different, but it works for them. It works for them.
Then Reeves and then Patrick.
Coach, how valuable is Chris Rodriguez to the running game, and how much better is the running game since his return?
I think he's the catalyst for what they do on offense. I think obviously Will is a tremendous quarterback, and like we talked about earlier, tremendous skill set. But I think their whole identity is running the football, and I think he's one of the best running backs in obviously the SEC. He's a downhill running back that doesn't mind running through arm tackles and creates yardage by creating space for himself. So he's not a bounce outside and try to make you miss. You kind of know where he's gonna be, and how he's gonna be when he shows up. He runs angry, he runs with authority, and we're gonna have to do a great job of meeting his aggression with our own.
Reeves in the back.
After the UT Martin game, Coach Heupel said he wants to see more out of his young guys moving forward. Where do you think the young guys can improve at the linebacker position?
I think that was a team-wide message. I think, after halftime, a lot of those guys, were able to get a lot of reps, which we always say, obviously the experience is invaluable because they're able to play, some quality reps. And we just want those guys to, obviously, going into Game 7, we feel like the freshmen aren't freshmen anymore and the young guys aren't the young guys anymore. A lot of them are on our special teams and have gotten some reps. So we just want them to play at the level of the starters that we're in. And as far as the linebackers, we weren't perfect by any stretch of the imagination as far as our linebacker play. But I was happy that they were able to get in there, and we could correct some of the things that they did wrong. But I thought they played aggressive, they played hard, they just weren't always assignment sound in that second half versus UT Martin.
Coach, you talked about in the past how linebackers these days have to be able to kind of do everything and be well-rounded. With a matchup like this, do you think your linebackers maybe prefer an opponent that will just line it up and run it at them as opposed to having to play 3-4 wide?
It's a mentality. You have to be ready for, every type of offense. If you were asking me when I played, 100 years ago, of course, that's, you want to meet people in the phone booth and see, who's going to be able to win in the phone booth. But, nowadays you have to be prepared to, for every offense. Obviously, as linebackers, we have to be, equally as good versus the pass and the run. But, we want to pride ourselves on stopping the run. So a team that comes in and kind of rolls up their sleeves and they want to run the football, you should get excited as a linebacker. But I think you should get excited as an entire defense because, that we want that to be our identity on defense also, is being able to stop the run.
We'll do two more, Adam, and then finish with Wes.
You said Kentucky is sort of anti-tempo. Is it good for you guys to speed them up to get them sort of out of their comfort zone?
In what way do you mean?
Pressure, just make them have to play more of the type of tempo like your offense plays.
I think we are one of the best teams in the country. Coach Banks does a great job of just trying to create havoc plays where, obviously our tackles for loss numbers have been high and we try to pressure the quarterback. That's kind of our identity. Now, whether that makes them, play faster, I'm not 100% sure. That would be, their up to their coaches. But, we're always going to be multiple on defense, and we're going to always try to get them off schedule. And if that means they're going to speed up, what they're doing on offense, hopefully that means it's an advantage for us.
All right, last question, Wes.
I know that, obviously football these days it can be a lot different, and as a linebacker especially, you might be covering a slot receiver one play and then a tight end and then a running back out of the backfield. And that's not an easy thing to do. How have your guys sort of fared in pass coverage this year compared to what you thought they'd do?
I'm going to say this: as a coach, you always assume they're going to be 100%, right? That's what the goal is coming out of camp. So my expectations for them is to be, in that higher percentile that we're going to be, really good versus the past. I feel like we have gotten better. There have been some plays that have been left out there, in some of the one-on-one situations where we had a chance to affect the ball. I think we've been okay, not great. But I feel like we've gotten better, but obviously nowhere near where it needs to be. Like I've stated many times, pass defense is all 11, responsibility from the rush to, the cover guys, on the back end. And obviously we can get better. But in our one-on-one situations, whether that be zone or man, I feel like we can improve. We got to get our hands on more footballs, especially when, obviously the ball is directed towards someone we're covering.
Thank you, Coach.
All right. Thank